critical critique. Pause on point. Today we're going to be talking about cute little fox girls. Cute, adorable little fox girls.
100% legal fox girls.
And how they are propaganda.
Secretly working for the government.
They're secretly working for Shindo
Abe.
Fuck. I can't even say...
Abe.
Yeah,
Abe. Shinzo Abe.
See, even you can't fucking do it! Ha!
Shinzo Abe, that's
Shinzo,
that's how you pronounce it.
I'm horrible with that shit. But, Shinzo Abe, they're working with him to try and increase the birth rates of the Japanese.
Is this a joke video, or is he serious about this? I need to ask before we get into this.
I'm going to tell you right now, because I watched the video, he is 100% serious.
Oh no, he fell for the meme.
Don't spoil the ending.
Well, yeah. Alright, so, we will start the video in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my god,
okay, now, you see, this is why people think we're weird.
You see, this is why people think we're weird, eh, guys? Because the cute fox. Like, that's wholesome shit. I don't understand how that would be weird. Maybe.
I mean, she was blushing pretty heavily, so you know.
Maybe.
There's blush on the face. If there's blush, if there's red in the field, there's a waterfall downstairs.
Maybe that jury dude was right. Maybe we are getting fucking desensitized.
Damn it.
Western values corrupted.
Our Western values have been corrupted by the Japanese.
By the Orients.
The Orient.
By the devilish Orient.
The devilish Orient. Alright, let's keep going.
Hi there. It's been a bit. And while I've got you here, I'd like to take a few minutes and have a nice, relaxing conversation about our feelings, our aspirations in love, in life, and most importantly, why this 800-year-old fox loli is the next step in propaganda aimed at increasing birth rates in Japan. So,
very big statement.
That's his thesis, right? That's the thesis we're working on here. I do quite like the joke, though. I think that's quite good. The 800-year-old fox girl is propaganda. I like it as, like, a joke thing that he did there. That was quite good.
Is she floating?
No, she floats.
Yeah.
She's a fox spirit. She can go through walls, she can float. When she wakes up in the middle of the night, there's, like, blue foxfire around her. That's his nightlight. It's really good.
I read only the tiniest bit of manga of it. I haven't watched the show myself.
Yeah, and I haven't watched or read it either, but it seems alright. It's on my catch.
Also, if this is aimed at increasing the birth rate, alright, you think they would use an actual woman and not a lolly?
He funnily enough, is gonna get to that.
Oh, he's gonna get to that. Alright.
He is gonna explain that, which is interesting. So let's keep going.
let's turn up the rain noise and begin with a brief history on Japan's relatively recent decline in birth rates.
Alright.
In 2018, Japan's ministry estimated that 921,000 babies were born. Now, despite sounding like quite a high number for a small island country, this amount is 25,000 fewer than in 2017, and the lowest in recorded history for the nation. Additionally, the general population count fell by 300,000 in that same year, and while it might seem as though having a smaller population could actually help in a country that's been known for crowded transportation systems and cities, it spells disaster for the government and its people.
One quick pause before this point. What he typed into code was kairitai, which means I want to get home. I want to go home, which is kind of depressing.
And I also want to say that it's well and good that he's saying all this stuff, but where's the citation?
Right? Well, he gave
He expects you to have.
He said the Japanese military, but he didn't cite
the ministry.
Ministry. But he didn't cite, and this is another issue. In the description, he also doesn't have any citations for any of the stuff he's talking about, which is
bad form. You should, if you cite something in the video, you should.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how hard I want to be on him for it, but I feel like it's just something that he should have done to strengthen his own argument. Because if you just go, if he had gone, well, according to this study by the Japanese ministry, right? Like, you can easily work
there's
it into the
census, and there's multiple sources for that. I've seen that. I read Reuters regularly, so...
I can...
Even if the... oh, hang on. I'll finish. I'll let you go. Even if the source is Japanese, link it anyway. People can just translate it with Google. That's the other thing.
I also want to caution against reading this line and taking it as fact, because if you look at the Japanese population, it's very, very old. And all of those old people won't have children. So if there's a lower percentage of younger people, then it's not that odd for a older population to have less children. So the real statistics would be how much young couples to somewhat midlife crisis age couples have children,
so basically around about the age demographic of like 20 to maybe 35.
Yeah. So if you want to take an extreme, just 20 to 35. If you want that population, has the birth rate increased or declined amongst those people? Because the general population is getting older, so that isn't really a great estimate for the total birth rate.
And again, this wouldn't be a problem if he had cited a source that could be looked at, because then we could see, so he is talking about this or not. Like, again, he just says the Japanese ministry. He doesn't say, well, the Japanese ministry census of the year 2000
he said
18,
to 2000
or whatever. 18, so
2018. Either way.
All right.
Either way, it is actually in good form. If anybody, the 5 people who watch this are going to do videos like this, it's in good it's in good form to actually link your sources in the description box. There's plenty of rooms to do that.
Yeah, to cap this point off and move on. If you're gonna cite something that is statistical or is something that is backed up by some kind of study or whatever, right? Even if you think that it's like common knowledge, because a lot of people it's common knowledge right now that Japan has low birth rates, right? Even if you think that it's common knowledge, cite it anyway. Just do it.
Yeah, because I heard that the birth rate increased, or that it's beyond its recovering, and that would
I'm not sure which one you're doing, but the phrase you're looking for is it's actually reaching a positive replacement rate, which I believe is true as of last year.
Yeah, so that would that's my point.
I would have to look into that.
That's my point of the statistics. Just saying the birth rate is low. Yeah, if you have so many more 80-year-olds, and of course the birth rate per citizen is lower, but that's not relevant.
Right. Statistics need context. You can't just throw numbers out there.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
A lack of population also means a severe decrease in available funds for the nation. And pair this with Japan's universal health care and impressively long life expectancy for both men and women, and the problem of national debt soon rears its ugly head. The growing population of elderly individuals who are not working is expected to place an unprecedented strain on the health and welfare.
One more point. I heard this very recently. Japan has a big debt, but what makes Japan's debt special is that it's all internal debt. It's not debt with China. It's not debt with France. It's all debt.
It's not international.
It's debt within its own country.
Local.
So you could almost say if the Japanese government decided to print more money, all the debt is gone.
True, but if they printed more money, that would also affect the price.
Yeah, but my point is,
so
there
would be other consequences to doing that than just lowering the.
I probably shouldn't go too far down this rabbit hole. Otherwise, we're going to hit the point where we're going to have to start dropping citations ourselves. But they very often because the National Bank of Japan is either directly tied or it's very kind of in a sort of private, sort of public relationship with the Ministry of Finance. They very often, in order to sustain their rate of exports often print money in order to inflate their currency artificially. This isn't a good thing, by the way, but but I mean, it depends on your situation, but that's complicated and not related to the 800-year-old Foxhole show.
Yeah, it's very complicated economic bullshit. is how I would put it.
Just to cap this point off, then he's talking about a lot of things, but those things need a little bit more context.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, and I'll get to that criticism when we get later into the video, but I feel like he needed to add a bit more context and a bit more sort of explanation into this point. So, yeah, let's continue.
Their services in the following decades. And as a start, in order to counter these demands, the sales tax has been increased from an already high 8% to 10% of every purchase. However, taxation is only a band-aid on this problem. The real solution comes...
Again, what's the citation to that?
But what is a high sales tax? Because I'm familiar with an 18 to 20% sales tax.
I don't know what GST's at in New Zealand.
Yeah. With in the US it varies by state, but no, in Japan, I know what he's talking about, and God, I'm gonna actually have to look up citations for this shit before we post the video, because it's actually hitting that point. But no, it was actually kind of a major deal when they increase their sales taxes, because again, they inflate their currency like that, so it lowers the purchasing power internally, even if it increases its ability to sell goods internationally. And that combined with a sales tax, and they also, I'm not sure if he's going to go over this, but there is kind of a sin tax for adult things, and then like beer and tobacco.
Yeah, they have tax. Yeah, and it's interesting. It's interesting stuff, and like Ellie said, in other countries, like I think in New Zealand, because GST is sales to goods and services, right?
Yeah, but I'll go.
GST in New Zealand, I'm pretty sure, is at roughly 15. Last I remember, it was at 15, but I'll just double check that.
I don't know what the sales tax is on my state. I'm not sure if my state has a sales tax. It might just have an income tax.
It's 15%. GST standard for New Zealand is 15%. So, what was the rate that he said it raised to? Like it was from
8 to 10%, which I'll give him some credit for. I caught at least because I do pay attention to the news on these things. I did catch at least some articles where it was a controversial thing internally, because the sales tax usually doesn't increase that much unless something's wrong.
Alright, I looked it up. My sales tax system, or the Dutch sales tax system, isn't really a sales tax, but it's an equivalent of it. Still, it's 18% or something.
Right. So yeah, let's keep going and see where he leads.
In the form of solving the initial issue, the declining birth rates. The blame has been consistently placed upon the youth, the idea that young people just aren't having enough sex, but what seems to be the underlying...
Citation needed. Citation needed. Who says this exactly? Why are they saying it? Are they of importance when they say it?
Insert Abe with a gun meme here. Just fuck already. Just start fucking, you goddamn. Yeah.
Abe looking really disappointed while Xi Jinping just like laughs in the background.
Yeah, just like, again, you're right. Like, citation needed on that. Like, what are the statistics? I do. Oh man, I fucking remember. I think it was on Senkaku Complex. They posted like a survey or something that was done in Japan where it did show that a lot of young people are not having sex. A lot of them aren't. So I'm not... I would have to definitely go and look that up if I was going to...
Are we going to have to cite this guy's shit for him?
We're gonna have to fucking get deep in this episode. The thumbnail for this is just going to be like the confused fox girl, like an image of the fox girl all confused with a shitload of numbers and links and citations behind it.
It's just... you just edit a photo of Shinzo Abe, but with like the fox ears from Senko-san.
No, I got it. Here's what you do. You do what I just said, where you have the fox girl looking all confused, and in the background, you have a bunch of different links to different articles and citations and like just numerical random numbers like just fucking overlapping each other like a collage. And then you grab a picture of Abe and you just make it transparent in the background. Like just a little bit transparent, so it's just barely visible. And you just have him there.
This video brought to you by the Liberal Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Support Abe's economic program for the Japanese renewal.
They call it Abenomics over there.
Yeah.
Kind of like Reaganomics in the US.
It's gonna be, it's great. I love it. But anyway, yep. Let's keep going.
The underlying issue is the lack of job opportunities for young individuals, mainly finding a consistent source of income. A large majority of young workers in Japan are now freeders. Freeders are those who find themselves with irregular income, and the word itself is a portmanteau, the linguistic blending of two words, of freelance and arbiter, meaning worker. And the amount of these freeders has increased by over 7.6 million in just the last 10 years, with a significant portion of those
again, 7 point.
Halfway through the video, where you going with this, man?
Like this is my problem, right? He's spewing shit out like 7.6 whatever.
He should have made this a bit of a longer video and actually, included citations.
Because
here's the thing: what he's saying so far isn't too far off the point of kind of what's going on in there with their younger generation, but
yeah. It's like he's not inaccurate, it's just he needs to cite it. Like, that's the problem. It's, you're on point, because that was my main criticism with this video, is that it's too short. I feel like he should have added another 5 minutes and made it 10 minutes. Like, not just because, algorithm bullshit, but because I feel like it could benefit from a little bit more citation, a little bit more explanation, a little bit more digging into it just a little bit deeper, right, than him just saying things as if they're true, even if they are, but you don't just say things like that. Let's keep going.
As being under the age of 30. Due to this decrease in consistent income and the general work culture in Japan, young individuals find themselves stuck in a constant struggle for finding both appropriate finances and enough time to have a social life. Additionally, young freeders oftentimes still live with their parents, as producing enough income for even a small apartment can prove to be a major challenge. As such, marriages in Japan have also gone down exponentially and continuously in the last 5 years, ultimately culminating in the lowest levels Japan has ever seen in the year of 2018.
Again.
What's the definition of exponentially, Ellie? Why don't you tell us, non-native English speaker?
It's first a little, then that little becomes the little plus a little is a little less little. Then a little less little plus a little less little becomes a decent amount, and then a decent amount.
2 times 2,
becomes
to the power of 2 to the power of 3. It's multiplied upon itself. He's making it sound a hell of a lot more alarming than it actually is.
Yeah, and I don't want to repeat myself again, but let's citate your shit. Citate your shit, mate. That's all I really have to say at this point. But yeah, let's keep going.
So, what does Japan do now? And how do they solve the problem of declining marriages to finally bring back up the birth rates in a society based around working yourself to the point of exhaustion and still not being able to financially support yourself?
Yeah.
Simple.
How will Japan solve these massive societal issues?
Clearly anime. Clearly there is a government anime development bureau. Clearly.
Well, you see, if I was a leftist, I'd say they opened the border.
Let's not get too political up in here.
But no.
Also, it's not even really just a leftist thing with, especially in, oh my god. No, I'm not adding to the citations.
Don't do it. Yeah, let's not do it. Let's not do it. I just wanted the quick
I want to say every statement that we make should have a citation of some kind.
Look, you're okay, Naruto. You're problematic. No. Shut up for a second. I'm going to say this right now because I'm going to disavow your ass here live. You're problematic, transphobic ass.
Yep.
It's not expressed, but it's not an expression of my opinions.
Fair enough.
You just added racist to your label with the leftist line. Good job.
Yay! Alright, but, like, I was gonna say, what we need to do is someone needs to invent a Google Glass app that, as soon as people speak, it just starts citing the shit that they say automatically. But yeah, no, I just wanted the quick jab. Oh, fuck, my Twitter went off. Anyway, let's continue.
Way countries have been solving problems since the birth of media. Propaganda. Okay, I get your confusion. What does the helpful fox Senko-san have to do with propaganda and birth rates? Well, let's first take a look at what I consider to be a distant relative to this show, and a favorite of the channel, One Room. The similarities between One Room and Senko-san are, well, blatant. The ending scenes of Senko-san are literally lifted concepts from One Room in terms of stylistic choice and first-person storytelling, which leads me to another question. Why did One Room get...
I have no idea what this is.
Well, apparently a show about a girl who moves in with a tired, slightly older man and does some homely things.
Does some wholesome things.
Isn't this just schoolgirl prostitution?
Okay, this was another problem with the video, but I really think he should have explained what One Room is better, because...
Also, who's rating it poorly? Is it rated poorly by the Japanese audience? By the Western audience?
Yeah, I'm very confused. Again, I'm very confused.
I mean, okay, here's my kind of entire problem so far. His assumptions about this seem more like a draft for something that should be larger. Yeah, because I think here would be a more interesting thing rather than the very clickbaity title would be to see why things like this that might simulate, a functional home life, why are they made? Why is there a demand for them? Yeah. But he's not really kind of going through that. He has a draft down, and he's like saying his draft like like a book report in front of a classroom, but he's not. He this needs to be expanded upon.
Yeah, I can see the potential for a very good video in this, right?
What's this dork's name?
I'm not sure, but I...
Ellie, you found this video.
Yeah, splitting anime.
It was in the intro. Splitting, so, my man. You need to actually go back to the drawing board on this one because you're onto something.
Yeah, but. I think that there is potential here for a very interesting discussion and a very interesting. I guess it's an interesting topic, right? Because, like you said, why are there so many anime focused around good home life? Because it's not like these two are the only examples. There are other examples.
The one was
plenty.
Yeah.
Hell, we can go all the way back to the fucking OG NHK, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what NHK was kind of about. It was about getting a guy who was locked in his room going fucking insane out and about, right? So there's room for these kinds of fantasies. Fantasies imitating reality. And that would be interesting to go into. But the problem is, like you said, he's not really going into it, and he's not what's the word I'm looking for here? Extrapolating, right?
Yeah, extrapolating.
He's not digging as deep as he should. And you can clearly see it here with this One Room thing, because I don't know what One Room is. One Room could be a fucking mecha show for all I know, right? You have to explain to me what it is in a basic sense. You can say, oh, well, it's similar to the Fox Girl show. I haven't watched the Fox Girl show either. I know a basic idea of what that's about, but it could be completely different to One Room, and I wouldn't even know. So that's why you have to... If he had spent another extra, 5 minutes or so, and used that time to not only citate some of his statistics, right, a bit better, but also had a proper explanation. Okay, this anime is called One Room. It's about a girl, trying to get... or it's about a girl who moves in with this older man, and due to some bullshit or whatever, explain the basic plot and go, right, let's compare and contrast these two shows. Here are the differences, here are the similarities, that kind of thing, right? But as we're going to get into, he points out a couple of similarities between them, and then talks about why he reckons one of them failed and one of them succeeded. But he doesn't go a whole lot into it, and that's kind of what I would have wanted. I would have wanted a little bit more time spent, just explaining things a bit better. So yeah, let's that rant over. Let's continue.
Rated so poorly, while Senko-san seems to be doing just fine. I believe the answer to that comes down to the audience's perception of what's personally acceptable in media. For a lot of people, and understandably so, One Room is this creepy and jarring experience to sit through. You're basically subjected to a fetishized version of a romance anime with yourself being the protagonist, and the scenarios involving occasionally underage girls in a small one-room apartment. The entire thing is creepy, yet innovative. Anyways, while that might come off as extremely strange, we find ourselves being placed into the story in anime anyways. Perhaps Senko-san just does what One Room set out to do, but with a slight degree of separation between the viewer and the story. So let's climb back up the question ladder and finally reach our conclusion. One Room and Senko-san are essentially the same.
What was the question, though? What question
he's talking about that you are placed in the main character of One Room, but not in Senko-san. But I'm looking at...
Here's the thing. The scenes he's comparing right now, because, okay, I'm going to say this right now because I was watching... It actually goes into what I was talking about at the beginning before this episode. At the end, or the entire, main part of the show is just, a slice of life thing with this guy and the fox spirit demigod thing. Whatever the hell it is. A kitsune, whatever. But, it goes from that, and after the credits, there's this kind of after thing where it's done through a first person view. If you've ever seen
first person.
Yeah, this part, and this is after the show, after the credits. And no lie, I was really bored as fuck watching when I was watching the first episode. It was whatever, not a hell of a lot going on, mostly just her, pampering the main character, just nice OST, everything's gentle and falling the fuck asleep. But it was when after the end credits and when these sequences started that oh man, I ended up pausing the episode and talking with somebody else for a good 30 minutes about this because I don't turn my brain off when I'm watching something, even if it's a show that expects it. That's just not something I do. I expect most people don't really do that either. They just say they're just more... What they're trying to say is that they're more willing to overlook faults or whatever, to still enjoy something. But with this, it was kind of weird because I started thinking, about who this was probably marketed towards, especially with the whole ending segment, because if you're somebody who doesn't have a very eventful life, say you're in need or something, a relaxing or stress-releasing type of thing like this isn't really appealing to you per se, right? Because your life's already pretty boring, all things considered. But when... if you're somebody who works, a really stressful job, and you come back home, this would be something that would kind of be more up your alley. So yeah, no, I started thinking about that, and in a meta sense, it's kind of, I don't want to say spooky or scary, but it's kind of worrying on an existential level, that this is basically... For a bunch of Japanese salarymen and a few people I know, this is their replacement for therapy.
And to be honest with you, I don't actually have a problem with that.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it either, but it's really concerning.
Yeah, I think that... Yeah, it's very interesting to think about, because clearly there's always going to be these types of people, right? So, I mean, fuck, I'm pretty much one of them. I spend most of my time at home,
I know.
due to circumstances. But that's the thing, right? Is for a lot of people that lack that kind of human interaction element because they're spending most of their time working or other circumstances in their lives lead them to not be able to socialize, right? Stuff like this, Yeah, I agree. Definitely, it's interesting to think about.
It's like Blade Runner. Okay, this is why Blade Runner 2049 is one of the best science fiction movies in recent years, because that whole subplot with Kay and the Joy, the AI construct that acted as more or less your live-in wife or whatever, hit the nail on the fucking head. Because this is this in real life. No, that's this in real life.
And it's crazy because there's other shit like this as well. Like, I mean, hell, there's even the one that's like the Moe Girl workout anime where they do like workouts with you and shit. That's fucking like some of the stuff.
I wouldn't go as far as to say creepy, because saying creepy is really fucking judgmental.
I was gonna say, no, I'm not saying it's creepy. I'm saying it's crazy in terms of like, it's just crazy to think about.
I would say that it's kind of embarrassing on some level for me to watch it.
A little bit. It's a little bit, but at the same time, it's,
and kind of embarrassing for the state of humanity.
I guess, but, what are you going to do, it's like, I don't know, but it's interesting to think about, and I love how we paused on this fucking girl just fucking looking into your soul.
Look. Oh yeah, no, yeah. So she's like, "What the hell are you guys talking about now?" So like, if I can harken back to the whole metatextual analysis thing, as it were.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting, the whole meta sense around why this was produced, why this was marketed the way it was, why it's successful and popular, not just in Japan, but also really popular in the US. I see a lot of people, retweeting. I'll have to actually, again, pull up statistics to see how well this is viewed and rated.
You probably have to go to like Mal or something. I could do that.
It's just that's not important. I'll try to compile something, but there's the basis for an interesting discussion here, but this needed to be more than a clickbait video. This should have been something a bit more highbrow, as it were.
Okay.
Senko-san's fucking deep, okay?
Alright, I'm having a look at Mal.
It's like Kirby lore.
Yeah, I'm having a look at Mal because Mal is, probably the only one of the main places to get these types of statistics, right? And I can link Mal, and Mal's easy to find, right? The score at the moment, based on 14,246 users, is a 7.64, which I think
it's well above average.
I think that's pretty good. I don't use Mal, so I reckon that's, I would say 7.64 is pretty good. It's currently ranked at 1,294 based on the top anime page. And its popularity is 1,026, and it has 100,402 users, according to this. So, I would say, it's definitely doing pretty good.
Ellie, you've been really quiet.
Yeah, I've been preparing my citations.
Yeah, he's been doing our work. He's been doing our work. That's what he's been doing. Just his own, alright. But no, so you can look this up on Mal. Like, the citation for that is just go on Mal, right? Like, that's not a big. I don't think we'd need to link that, because I've said the citation. But based on these rankings, I'd say that in the West at least, because I don't know how many Japanese users use Mal, right?
Very few, I think.
Yeah, I would say based on these numbers.
I wonder if they have an equivalent that they use. Like, surely they have an equivalent they use.
If I sort by... Okay. In terms of most members, it's currently ranked on the seasonal list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's ranked 8, so it's in the top 10. And if I sort by score for the season, it is currently ranked... Oh, it's a bit lower. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's ranked 12th in terms of score. So it's not too bad. Not. I wouldn't say that's horrible. I mean, it's got pretty good. It's got to compete with One Punch Man and Isekai Quintet and fucking Attack on Titan and shit, right? Like it's competing with a lot of very
big season.
Big season. So I would say it ranking there is pretty good. So yeah. Anyway,
effective propaganda. I still haven't heard a
propaganda.
case for why it's propaganda in the sense that the government is trying to influence people to believe or do something.
Yeah, because
he's going to get erased. Like this is why it's only 6 minutes. He cuts out mid-sentence. They shoot him.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because propaganda has... we've been paused on this for quite a while, but, propaganda has a very specific definition, doesn't it? Like, it's
but even if... leaving it in the context of governmental propaganda, and I think corporations and even people can do propaganda, setting that aside, I don't see any real connection... except some subsidies or something, but that doesn't make it propaganda. That makes Gundam more... Gundam is more Japanese cultural propaganda than this show ever is.
No, you want to see... No, Gate. You should have used Gate as your example.
Yeah, and it's also kind of weird because the LDP and the Japanese government have always had a really weird relationship with the anime industry, so I wouldn't say... any of this would be propaganda. I think you could definitely say that the fact that this is popular and the fact that something like this has apparently done relatively well can say quite a bit about, you know, the psyche of, or the zeitgeist rather, of the people watching it. And I wouldn't even really say the nation because Japan, and anime isn't that popular in Japan. Like, a lot of people seem to get this perception that, like, everything in Japan is like anime, but it's like guns in the US. Like, you can go quite some time without seeing a gun shop, and same thing over there. Most of the time when they take pictures of any, like, weeb shit, they're taking, like, the same street in Akihabara. But you could go through the rest of the country and not even know it's really a thing. So, like...
Japan is more than one city.
He would have to actually, you know, follow the money, as it were, and see if this is being funded in any way by any ministry that might be in charge of, you know, health or something.
And I guess to cap it off, I definitely agree with you. I think that there's more that you could say about this, right? This topic. There's more that you can, like, dig deeper into about this, the general zeitgeist of the viewers and why it got popular. But the problem is that in the context of this guy's video, he doesn't do that.
Yeah, this is like you said, this is more of a cultural awareness than it is propaganda top down.
All right, let's keep going.
Except where One Room places the viewer directly into the story, Senko-san uses Nakano as a buffer between the audience and the environment. Otherwise, they're really just telling about the enjoyment one finds in coming home to someone who cares about them, the importance of certain aspects related to being part of a family or having a spouse. And that brings us up to another level. I'm under the belief that Senko-san and One Room are both possibly being used as a sort of propaganda to emphasize how nice it can be to come home to a loving environment.
Okay, first of all, he says that there's a buffer. I'm not even kidding, where after the episodes there are first person's perspective things, and they don't even mention Nakano as the main character. It's phrased as in they're talking directly to the audience. She's looking at the audience. She is serving a drink to the audience. She is cleaning the ears, weird fucking thing to do, to the audience.
Wait, are you telling me they do some fucking ASMR?
They don't do ASMR. I was listening to it, and unfortunately, they did not go that route.
Man,
like, because at one point,
that would have been amazing.
Okay, so it's such a missed opportunity too, because she's sitting there and she's tending to you, and you're looking up at her, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna clean your left ear now, and I was expecting that in my left ear, and because I have headphones, and I didn't hear it, and then she does this thing where, she blows to, get the particulates out, and it's like, that's such a missed opportunity! What the fuck are you doing?
Fuck, I can only imagine.
Maybe it's in the Blu-rays.
I can only imagine.
Maybe I should fix the audio for them and upload it. I don't know.
Yeah, that would... Oh, man, nah, some ASMR channels probably already fucking done that. like, I'm not gonna lie. Because I actually quite enjoy that kind of shit.
Yeah,
so it's like, fuck.
Just to... Because I also sometimes forget. Anime is a TV show, not a web show. So that means it's made for TV and not so fancy.
Yeah, and that's true. And you wouldn't, ASMR type shit does definitely.
At the same time, though, get me on the marketing team for this show because I know a way to push Blu-rays. Man, they're sitting on it.
Man, that should be the next. They should do a web series for this next.
Well, no. I got the thing. They should copy Spice and Wolf and do a VR episode.
Yeah, the head.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tail fluffs and the headbands.
And all the ASMRs as well. And that shit.
Who made this show? I think it's
Man, this is like a gold mine right here. This shit would sell so bad, so like amazing, right? Like this shit would just fucking woo. But yeah, no, it's
marketing geniuses.
It's great. But anyway, yeah, let's keep going.
Filled with friends and a significant other, which is exactly what people want to see and think exists in a relationship. They see the interactions these characters have on screen, place themselves in that scenario, and find that they want to experience the same. So they go out, focus more on achieving that goal of coming home to someone who cares about them.
Okay, the problem with his thesis here is that there is also going to be the people that watch the show and use it as a supplement, as a replacement, right? They don't. You're not necessarily going to get people that watch this and go, "Oh man, I gotta go to the bar and pick up some chicks," right? You're not going to get that necessarily. You're also going to get the neats that are like, this is all I really need. I don't really.
Yeah,
need
and buying the figures, buying the Blu-rays, the figures, the manga,
exactly,
the posters,
exactly.
All of which would inhibit their ability to get a wife because she's going to walk in and be like, "Yeah, this is a warning sign."
Well, I'll be back in a second. I'm getting rung. Hang on.
Damn. Huh. Want to finish the video while he's gone? Would that be rude, or should we just cut it out?
No. Yeah, just to finish that point, yeah. There's also indeed the thing that you can indulge yourself into this show, and that's an equally valid approach I think you could take. That this show, instead of a real person finding real companionship, this show would be the surrogate.
Yeah, which is the opposite of what you want if you want a higher birth rate. Now, it's, in theory, assuming that this could be a viable solution to actually increasing birth rate and isn't just the equivalent of, like, sliding in pictures of food in between movie frames, which was proven to not really work that much. No, not even just not work that much. It was proven to more or less just be kind of a placebo, like that didn't increase snack sales in movie theaters or anything. But, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. But, and this also begs the question, he's doing the thing where he's, like, looking at anime in kind of this vacuum as, like, the only source type of media that Japan consumes. But if this was government propaganda to increase the birth rate, wouldn't a more mainstream kind of live action show be more effective?
Well, I think if you want to target a specific demographic or group, then of course taking on the media of that group would be in that sense effective. But you would still first need to know if this would be an effective
tool
for this group.
Yeah, but Okay, yeah, but I get that, but birth rates overall, not birth, or if you're trying to increase birth rates overall, why would it be a very niche kind of non-mainstream anime rather than a live action series that could get the entire nation watching?
Yeah.
Like, Japan doesn't just watch anime, just like the US doesn't just watch cartoons.
Yeah, they have their own dramas and stuff as well, so yeah, that's true. So anyway, yeah, sorry about that. I had to take a call, but yeah, are we ready to continue?
Well, I want to highlight how Gate is more propaganda, and in a sense the same type of propaganda as the Marvel movies, because I heard from sources who I won't name.
Cite your shit!
Secret anonymous sources. I can't cite those. I'll bring them live
anonymous
in danger.
Sources. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That before certain Marvel movies, you get specially made military recruitment ads.
Yeah, no, I can say that this is definitely something that happens because
that's interesting because in New Zealand we don't have that at all.
Yeah, in the US, and this is kind of like how Hollywood okay, so you know how the Monster Hunter movie. You know why you ever think about why the main characters are military guys, right?
Because military.
Here's the thing. The military in the US, and I'll have to cite my shit. God damn it. But from what I know and this is something going all the way back to Top Gun. You know, how do you think they got footage of the F-14s and they got the mock-up F-5 and Top Gun? As long as you portray the military in a positive-ish light, they'll let you just borrow, like, equipment to use as props. Like, so as long as you don't completely trash the shit, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. Like, for the Marvel movies, they are looking at, on the production side, they need a scene in which military guys do military things ineffectively while they get blown out by, I don't know, Thanos or something. And they're like, shit, how are we going to get all of these fucking MRAPs? Well, shit, you know. Well, I know a guy, because I worked on this other movie, that can get me an MRAP. We just need to play this ad before the theater. Mind you, I can't confirm any of this.
Yeah.
I don't typically go out to watch movies, so I can't confirm any of this. The last thing I went out to watch was Shin Godzilla a few years back. But, yeah, so that's how that would work. And I can tell you that that's actually a thing. Like, it's less insidious and more just this is kind of a write-off for the PR section of a certain military thing.
Yeah, but that makes it
somebody knows
more propaganda than this show. Because
by far.
I agree.
But in the same sense, Gate, the good old propaganda anime, also had ads for military featuring the Gates characters.
Yeah.
So it's really the same kind of propaganda.
Hell, the Japanese Self-Defense Force have weeb copters. So.
Oh yeah, Strike Witches too did ads. That's the military otaku community.
The military knows. Yeah, the military knows, right? They know that they've got a market there for those military otakus, so they know and they market to them. So, yeah, I can agree with that. But yeah, we're almost at the end, so let's cap it off at the end, and then we'll do some final thoughts
about them, which ultimately leads to more relationships, more marriages, and finally, higher birth rates. Let's quickly recap what we just went through. One Room and Senko-san are pretty much the same premise, just with different types of storytelling.
Wait, how? Tie it together. Why? Why is it very specifically that? Why is there no other reason that this might be a thing? Keep going. We'll do the
fun. That premise is about creating a home environment that's relaxing and comforting with someone else who cares about you. a marriage, which in turn is exactly what viewers might be craving as a means of escaping from their work. So they go out, meet someone, develop a relationship, and find that missing piece, finally leading to solving the initial issue in the impending doom scenario that Japan's economy is facing, a lack of tax-paying individuals not on the government-funded plans, which is fueled by birth rates. And that is how the helpful fox Senko-san is related to propaganda about increasing birth rates in Japan.
That doesn't prove anything!
And we're done.
You know, I like Senko-san so much, I'll buy her all her merch and a pillow, and I'll talk to her every day for the rest of my life.
Did you catch that? He never explained... He explained some economic situations. Like, he set up, like, 1/3 of whatever it is he was trying to do, but he never finished a point. Like, he never managed to prove or even hint that, or even, like, point to evidence that maybe it was some sort of, like, propaganda piece.
But who made this propaganda happen? Yeah, English, hard language. Who made this propaganda happen? Is it the Economic Bureau, the Minister of Economic Affairs?
Yeah, where is this coming from? You can't just say vague government.
The Ministry of Family and Sports and whatever.
Yeah.
Big
But, like, he hasn't actually tied together why. He's like, well, this is the reasons I think. But, like, you can also explain the same thing as just targeted marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think my final thoughts...
Marketing isn't propaganda, per se.
No, that's that, and also my main thing is, this video needed to be an extra, like, I'd even say 10 minutes. I'd say make a 15-minute video. Like,
I go as fucking in-depth and as autistic as Rika Fag does. Like, just go all out with that shit, man.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, you don't even need to go that far. Like, just cite your shit, explain things a little bit better, and actually draw a proper conclusion.
At least he isn't trying to define propaganda for us.
Yeah, he's not trying to define propaganda, yeah. And yeah, that's my main issue, is I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I feel like there's certainly, I mean, we talked about it a lot, right? Like, there's a lot that you can go into about this type of show, and why these exist, and what they could mean, and all this other stuff, but because he's not only limited his scope to talking about how it might be propaganda, right? Even though he's definitively doing it for clickbait, right? It's... Yeah, it just doesn't... It's not...
Have standards with your clickbait, come on.
Yeah, come on. Come on, bro. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That I think that's all I really got to say on it.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe the propaganda bureau assassinated him before he can make that point.
Maybe
Two Hellfire missiles to the back of the head, the decapitating one.
maybe Abe is secretly watched, keeping an eye and making sure
he committed suicide by stabbing himself 3 times in the back and tossing himself in the river.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you know...
Anyways, I interrupted Ellie for a shitty joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just... I'm just having Google numbers on it. And it only goes up to 2016, but in 2000... Let's pick a year, 2013. Like 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, Japanese fertility rates, which is more important, which is basically birth rates in this context. Germany, 1.42. 1.42. Japanese fertility rate in 2014, 1.33. So Germany and Japan have basically the same birth rate.
Interesting.
What's important here, especially if you're going to do something like talking about a decline in population, is to compare the birth rate with it would be the replacement rate. The amount of births versus the amount of deaths. But it's kind of overstated just a little bit in context with the Japanese, where I don't want to have to cite this, but whatever, I'll say it anyways. With an aging population, even if they were to say even if they were to die and not really get replaced, like, a lot of their population is really old, so them dying very naturally decreases the strain of the social security. It's kind of self-correcting in a way. Because at some point, that negative, or that replacement rate is going to reverse, because all of the people that were, dying, in a quicker succession because of their age are effectively gone. It's a really morbid thing to say, but yeah. It's kind of a self-correcting thing, but at this point it's also kind of a major political talking point, as it were, for the Japanese. That's something you also have to keep in mind whenever you hear about these major crises or whatever. It's in the country itself, is it a political talking point? And if that's the case, might it be being overstated for the sake of, getting people to vote for you?
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that pretty much wraps it up. It's been a good video. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
What's
your propaganda shows?
Alright, and
procreate.
Procreate.